Hello there, my friends. Chris Marcus here with you on Tuesday, August 29th. As mentioned yesterday, we've left the living room. We're actually somewhere in the middle of Utah right now. It's quite lovely here. As you can see, deep in the mountains. Eventually going to make it out to Las Vegas tonight. Then down out to California tomorrow. And we have an update from Andrew Maguire, as promised yesterday. Andrew, who I think a lot of you are familiar with by now, but a London metals trader and whistleblower, spoken out a lot about the silver manipulation, and also, just because of the role that he plays, I find his information really interesting because he does have access to a lot of the order flow that goes on inside the gold and silver market. I know some people are a little disappointed with Andrew ever since he made his call to watch out in 26 days, which I guess would have been back in July. But fortunately, we did have an update from Andrew, and we're going to go through a few of those things real quick before it's completely dark, so we can get back on the road soon. But we did promise you a video, so here we go. In short, main thing Andrew talked about, he still sees a large source of demand coming into the gold and silver markets. Primarily, he kept mentioning to watch out for September 5th, which commences the Indian wedding and gold and silver buying season. Again, I'll defer to Andrew on that one. From everything I see, it continues to seem as if we're close to the point where the demand in the physical market could overwhelm the paper markets. And again, I know, hey, Andrew had some earlier dates and they've been pushed back. So is that possible? Sure. Do I think Andrew is giving information from his best intention and best understanding? And is there a degree to which things change in the world? Dates don't always stay the same. Yes. So factor it in as you will. Again, that's one of the reasons why I continue to caution against really short-term trading in manipulated markets, because the bubbles can go on longer than margin leverage can. So again, whether it happens September 5th or not, we'll see. But hopefully you're not out betting the farm or getting yourself into trouble with some sort of leverage trade that's dependent upon a certain date. A few other things Andrew did mention, though. He still said the 250-ton order that he expected in August and would be over and above the typical seasonal demand. Still looking for that. And he didn't specifically say this, although the way it was phrased in his interview, I'm wondering if he's again referring to the launch of Bullion Coin, which is the bullion-backed cryptocurrency that him and a few of his partners have been working on, which has been delayed a couple times, and I think was what he was pointing to initially with his early July date. But I know that's been delayed, and he did mention that he's still expecting that big order with the potential to reprice the gold and silver markets as we currently know them, which certainly for any gold and silver holders would be welcome news. Again, I hope there will be a day where I'll be able to come on here soon and say, here, I'm Chris Marcus, in my opinion. It's on now. I don't have the evidence to go that emphatic yet, which I'll certainly keep you posted when I do. But at least from the time being, it's one of those things where, even as connected as Andrew is, and as much as he gets to see some of the order flow that's going on in the physical market, when this situation really ends, I don't think there's anyone, perhaps outside of some of the bullion bankers who are manipulating the market, that could tell you for certain. So that certainly includes me, but in either case, it's at least, let me put it this way, I would say is encouraging when I hear Andrew give a date. Maybe it comes and passes, but you see a lot of these different data points coming together, and we know it will end at some point. And certainly with all the political tension going on, if things were to start moving this fall, would hardly be surprising. Those of you following Bitcoin, cracked a new price high today. It was up to 4,600 a couple times. Litecoin trading over $60 now. So again, to the degree that it reflects some of the tension in the world. Oh, the dog's getting away. Nibbles, come back! Actually, moved into the new home last night, and Nibbles the dog got away. So keeping an eye on him here in the mountain. Anyway, again, have we seen the smoking gun where we know we're about to see the big move? I can't say that for sure. But certainly, whether it's, I saw North Korea launch some missiles last night, according to the Wall Street Journal. Did you see Trump cabinet members going out? So, either case, keep going a few more comments and stick with Andrew for tonight. He did mention again, as we referenced yesterday, how in the video about why I've lost any inkling of hope for the CFTC, that, again, he mentioned how Bart Chilton, former CFTC commissioner, basically flat out said there's manipulation in the markets, but hey, I'm short-staffed, what can I do? Maguire also mentions that he made a presentation to the Department of Justice, and when they responded with, but what about the economic fallout, that told him pretty much, Nibbles, come here, boy. Told him everything that he needed to know. So, but an interesting point about that, and I can't really confirm this, although found it interesting that Andrew mentioned that, in his opinion, because there's so much riding on the line for the government because of the manipulation of the metals, he thought that all those LIBOR fines that a lot of the big banks faced last year weren't maybe entirely for LIBOR, but was kind of a silent way of saying, hey, we got to punish you guys somehow. You can't come out and the metals manipulation in a dramatic fashion. Now, if again, is that exactly how it went down? Andrew was speculating on that a little bit, but certainly interesting. Let's see, we have a few more notes here. I'm trying to see in the dark. And what does he think the... well, he did mention we're seeing 3 tons of daily large sovereign buyers. India has been a big buyer at the gold fix for the last 3 weeks. Warns again, and I would certainly echo this, be careful, and especially I would say I would avoid it altogether, doing anything on margin, just because as certain as we can be that at some point the metals have to rise in value, we have no idea what could happen between now and then, as we've seen. Another thing that was mentioned in the interview was how, for people who've been following the gold and silver markets for a couple of years or even decades, most never had any idea that things would be going on. Here we are in late August of 2017. I certainly didn't. And certainly as it goes on, the magnitude and extent of what's happening grows. But again, the point being, you want to stay away from the margin. The great advantage, sure, is it frustrating on one hand? Yes. But the great advantage this situation offers is that if you're just taking your metal, storing it somewhere safely, then it really doesn't matter when it happens, because I would say as certain folks were that mortgages had to eventually implode, to me it seems as certain that the metals have to go up substantially in price, and probably sooner than later. But why get yourself in trouble with margin? So let's see here. Last comment we had from Andrew was that he says a big reason why we've seen prices somewhat capped below 1,300 for gold, 17 for silver, is that there are a lot of orders just sitting there waiting for a breakthrough to those levels, and then we'll be jumping into the market. Well, we saw the breakthrough in both of those. Gold has crossed 1,300, silver up over 17 bucks. It's been interesting to see the metals up finally the last 2 days. So, and again, today being August 29th, that means the September 5th date, only about a week away. And I think this Friday would be the first. So either this Friday or next Friday, the labor report. Plus, God only knows what happens coming out of the White House or anywhere else. And I think we're entering exciting times. Again, just the fact that cryptocurrencies continue to go up, a lot of people making money that are of that same mindset of a gold and silver investor. So, another possible source of demand for physical metals. With the net result being, hey, Andrew sees a lot of good things happening. And for my opinion, having listened to a lot of his interviews over the years now, also having a trading background, when I hear the man speak, he knows his stuff. Seems like an honest fellow to me, and having gotten to know a few of the folks who are working on his new project with him, again, it's up for everybody to decide. Yet, I think it's someone who has some good information, has a good intention, and, well, maybe he doesn't have the exact date. It's encouraging to hear someone with his access say that he's seeing some good signs, and hopefully we're getting closer. So with that said, we're going to get back in the car. It's starting to rain here, but we promised you the video. Hopefully you can still see me there, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Thanks, and have a great night.